Chef Andrew Gruel is here. He's a restaurateur and a patriot, I think I would say.
That works.
Starting to see you making the rounds and out there. I got taco questions. I got things to get into with you. I'll give you a plug. Online show, American Gravy. It's weekly episodes, form about food, politics, and how they mix, and that's on Twitter, on X. So I was very disappointed in that a couple days back, somebody went to go get some high-end tacos, and I think there were like brisket tacos or something, which sounded good to me. And I said, grab me one. And when I got back and I grabbed the taco and I opened it, was on a flour tortilla. And I was like, why? Why? Especially if you're trying to go high end. What are we doing flour? It was like flour tortilla, brisket, and cabbage.
And then let me guess, it was soaked, right?
Yeah, because it was soaked because it sat waiting for me to get there.
Yeah.
What's with the flour tortilla? What do we need it for? Why do people do that?
Well, it's cheaper,
it's cheaper,
like a little bit cheaper, but also it's I don't know what it is. It's odd too, because that's something I saw growing up and working in restaurants in like Jersey on the East Coast. Always was flour. Then I came out to California and the taco trucks are using corn, and I'm thinking nobody's going to obviously use the flour because they get it out here, SoCal, you know.
I have the thing with flour tortillas. I think of it like American cheese. Like well, you could get cheddar on your burger or Swiss on your burger. I will, or wherever you use cheese. And they go, I like American. And I'm like, no, you don't. Why are you doing that? And they go, I like it. I go, no, make a good grilled cheese sandwich. No, I like American cheese. And I go, no, you don't. Like, I feel like I have to talk dumb people out of their fucking dumb ideas. That's my lot in life.
Well, you got to isolate why they think they like it, right? So the reason they think they like it is because it melts, right? They want the melty factor of it. So it's actually not the cheese, it's the melt. Once you isolate the good part, then you can change their minds.
Yes. I'll tell you something that I'm on to lately that I'm going to share with my audience, but I'd like to get your professional expertise on it as well. In the name of eating healthy, clean stuff that's good for you and tasting delicious, it's a little effort, but I would go to Zankou and I would get the chicken and then I would get the garlic paste, and there's nothing better than smearing that garlic paste all over that chicken. And by the way, it can take as much garlic paste as you can throw at it. Man, you can do a ladle of garlic paste on an ounce of chicken. It's like, it doesn't matter. Then I found out that the stupid garlic paste is seed oil based, because everything is nothing but safflower oil and seed oil, and it's all that horrible seed oil, which is everywhere all the time. And so looked into making the garlic paste. But you can make your own garlic paste. It's a little effort, but you can make a big wad of it, and it lasts for a while, and you can just buy rotisserie chicken and smear that stuff all over it, and there's nothing better for you, and it tastes fantastic, and there's no seed oil in it at all.
Yeah, and that's a good move, too, because it's cheap, actually, if you think about it, right? You make a big batch of it, and, use butter. Right. Use butter or clarified butter, ghee, or avocado oil, and then you're all good to go.
Yes. You can use avocado oil, whole garlic, and lemon, and just pulverize it, and you'll get the same stuff that they do at Zankou, but it's not going to have all the weird seed oil in it.
Oh, yeah. And I'll take it a step further, right, because we got everybody listening. We'll give the tricks out here for free, is that if you also want to make something really deep, take roughly just a big old handful of garlic, cover it in water in a pot, put a whole stick of butter in there, right? Let the water simmer and ultimately evaporate, and then the garlic is soft and it's cooked, and then the butter starts melting, then the butter starts toasting, and then you smash it all together, and it's that version of the garlic, but it's the cooked version. It's technically garlic confit, so it's that version but roasted, and then you call yourself a chef after that. After that, you call yourself a chef.
So, there's politics, there's food. Oh, good, you're good. I'm glad you're here. I did 20 minutes a while ago where I was trying to figure out what was wrong with everyone. And I explained to everyone, you're too young, Chef, to remember this, but there was a time from literally 1986 to 1989, where everyone ordered sun-dried tomatoes on their pizza. And I was like, nobody likes sun-dried tomatoes. I mean, I never sat around and ate a sun-dried tomato. I don't want it on my pizza. It's like putting raisins or prunes on your pizza. It's not helping the pizza, yet we all went along with it. And I realized we do trends, even if it doesn't benefit us. And we drank this weird blush rosé wine and ate sun-dried tomato pizza, neither of which are particularly good. We just went all in for like 3.5 years in the 80s. What is the best topping on a pizza? What's the best pizza?
Oh, boy, this is a tough one. Well, I think pizza's got to stay simple, right? People add too much toppings.
Yes.
Pizza shouldn't really have toppings. You almost want to add it at the end, like, oh, I want to throw something on here just because I want this bite to have something else. But if I had to go with anything, people are going to get mad. I'm going to say anchovies. You got that umami in there, right? That anchovies, that umami flavor.
It is.
And you only need a couple for it to go a long way.
Strong choice.
Strong choice, I know.
I agree. People, especially, I think it's an ugly American thing. They go, get the meat lovers pizza. Yeah. That comes with double pepperoni, Italian sausage, and the little hoops of sausage and the ground sausage on there. And then they put pemmican on top of that. And then they put jerky. And it's like, that's a salty mess. And it's too salty.
And you can't pick it up, right?
You can't pick it up.
The only reason that we eat pizza is to be able to fold it and hold it, right?
Fold it and hold it.
And, it actually sounds like my marriage. And then when you start putting all those ingredients on there, you can't do that anymore. So it defeats the purpose.
I agree. It's got to be thin. The crust has to be thin. I've said this many times. It drives me, I don't know. Everything makes me angry. I've told people many, many, many times that if it's a situation where the only place open is Domino's and we got to get pizza for the crew and they're working late and nothing else is open, we got to go with the Domino's pizza. I go, get thin crust. And they go, we just get the regular. I go, no, they fuck the crust up. So just get the thinnest you can. That'll be the least amount they can fuck up. And they get the regular crust and it tastes like shit and it makes me angry every time. You can do Domino's where you get thin crust and you put olives or something on it and you can get by. You can make it through the night.
The thin crust Domino's actually is not horrible.
Not at all.
You still taste that sweetness, that corn syrup in there, because they got all the preservatives, all the sweetness, the sugar. Who's adding sugar to pizza? Well, every chain is now, but you're so right. Just the classic Domino's crust, I mean, it's undercooked. It's full of chemicals. You can taste the seed oils. Going back to the seed oils, I love when nutritionists come after me. They're like, well, technically the seed oils are... And I said, I'm not railing against the seed oils because of nutrition. I'm a chef. I'm an idiot, right? I'm not going to get into the science of this. They're over-oxidized. They taste bitter. They taste like crap. So if you want to eat something that tastes better, get rid of the seed oils. So that applies to the Domino's. I mean, you can taste that bitterness after every single bite. You don't want that.
And it's neither fish nor fowl. It's just weird chewy. It's not thick crust and it's not thin crust. The in-between crust is always the worst, everyone. So get the thin. Listen to me. And best taco, let's see. It's the beef cheek you were telling me about?
Yeah, cacheta. Yeah, the beef cheek.
And it's also, listen, if it's going to be a fish taco, you like it very lightly battered, as I recall.
Yep.
One corn tortilla. Don't double up the corn tortillas.
Good memory. Good. It's funny.
Do it fast.
After your episode, I had people come into the restaurant and start arguing with me about the tacos. True story, right? So we actually started to go into this little taco off. So they're like, you know what? No, try this. Give me a taco with X, Y, and Z with this shell. So I started making it for the guests. God's honest truth. And we start doing these little taco tastings. And in every single situation, the flour tortilla lost. And the guests who were arguing with me on the flour, they kept saying, well, put it in a burrito. I said, but this is a taco. Right. I'll take this and put it in a burrito.
Listen, flour tortillas are sort of a substrate in that they're just there to hold the ingredients. They're not really part of the ingredients. They're there to hold the ingredient. They're like a form for the cement. They're not the cement. They're the form for the cement. And that's the way I feel about flour tortillas. Corn adds to the event.
To amplify your point, and you're right, as always, is that when I had a food truck, I started my restaurants as a food truck about 15 years ago, and we kept spending so much money on those little dishes, you get at the food truck, the little paper boats, and we couldn't get them one day, and we wanted to sell a dish, and I said, screw it. We don't have anything to give. Put it in a flour tortilla. So it was like a lobster on a stick, but we couldn't put it in a dish. So we just started putting them in flour tortillas and handing them to people. It was dripping into the flour tortilla, then they'd eat the flour tortilla afterwards. But to your point, we used it exactly as a vessel.
So, I don't know, who was it? Dr. Drew, who came by your restaurant recently. And it's like, oh, it's so good. Can you teach anyone to cook if they listen to you and you sort of impart wisdom and they don't have their own way of doing everything?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. So everybody, the business magazines over the years, how have you grown and opened so many restaurants? What's the secret to success? And the answer is I actually hire people with no experience. So at one point, when it was really hard to hire people, we were targeting specifically babysitting sites. We were looking for like middle-aged women, married women, or mothers or grandmothers who had zero restaurant experience, but they knew food, and we were bringing them in as prep cooks or line cooks because it's so much easier to take somebody who's got no opinion and no foundation than to break. So it's easier to create new habits than to break bad habits. So that's the idea behind everything we do, is right. It's really simple if you're willing to learn, because 90% of it is just people overthinking it. Food Network has fucked up people's brains.
Oh, really?
Yeah, completely. I mean, the basic fundamentals of cooking that, kind of think Tuscan, Italian style, or that real simple style of food where it's just a couple ingredients but done well, that went out the window the minute that, Jan Kan Cook and Jacques Pepin took over. It was a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You got layering, fusion, everybody's story. This is my, Vietnamese grandmother meets my Canadian uncle, and we put it in a bagel. It's just gone overboard. So scale it back, keep it simple.
Yeah, I completely agree. I had a chef blame San Francisco for fucking food up. And I like to blame San Francisco when I can, so I wasn't going to argue with the man. But I've always been angry, and maybe you can answer me on this one. I'll give you the example of who fucks up the food the most. Airline first class food. Like, I've been on an airline, and I fly first class half the time, and they have an offering.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, you fly in the morning. Would you like an omelet? Yes, I'd like an omelet. It's a leek omelet. I go, I've never heard of a leek omelet. Well, we're doing a leek omelet. I go, but no one's ever walked into a diner and asked for a leek omelet. Yeah, we do a leek omelet here. And I'm like, look, I get it. You guys want to do something different. But how about just a cheese omelet or Santa Fe or a Denver omelet? Yep. Just do a good Denver omelet. Everyone likes a good Denver omelet. So we do a leek omelet. I'm like, everything they do, they fuck up a little bit, And it's always like they'll do just everything. They go, oh, we have ravioli. And then you go, oh, okay, what kind? Chicken ravioli. I go, oh, cheese ravioli's good and beef ravioli's good, but I've never had chicken ravioli. We're doing chicken ravioli. It's like, why do you have to do everything different when it's worse? Whoever invented passion fruit iced tea, I would like to fucking put an iron boot on and get a running start and kick that fucker in the nutsack for ruining fucking iced tea. Yep. I was flying the other day, first class, Alaska, breakfast sandwich. So what are we talking about here? It's just a breakfast, Okay, everyone loves a breakfast sandwich. Pepper jack cheese.
Yep.
I was like, can't you just do regular shit that people would like? Why do you have to give it your own fucked up flair? Pepper jack cheese sucked. It didn't help anything, and no one wants it on a fucking breakfast sandwich. Nope, that's what we're doing. And it's like, why? Why? And that's what's happened in California cuisine. That happened, San Francisco brought. They started adding shit to everything, and they're giving them their interpretation of everything. This is our whatever, and they fucked everything up.
Yeah. And what's funny is, and I talk about how every single piece of policy, politics, culture, everything that we're talking about every day, day in and day out, always comes back to food. You can draw the metaphor, the analogy, whatever it is. But in this case, that is corporate America, right? Just, it used to be nuts and bolts. Just we got a problem. Let's solve the problem. Let's produce the product, market the product, sell the product. Now you got every fucking board in the world over-intellectualizing everything. Well, this and that. And the same applies to these menus in first class. The airlines, they hire an executive chef. They pay him a ton of money. Then he gets in with the DEI department. Well, we don't want to offend this particular demographic or this one and this one. And then they start over-intellectualizing an egg sandwich. If I am flying and I'm getting breakfast, and I'm not there yet. A couple more good weeks at the restaurant, and I'm sitting first class. But I want a grand slam. I want a Della-dinger. A moon's over my hammy.
Yeah, there's never. It is a breakfast sandwich with pepper jack cheese or overnight oats. What they offer. By the way, overnight oats with passion fruit. And I was like, nobody likes passion fruit. I don't even know what fucking fruit. No one has ever made oats and put passion fruit in it. They put blueberries, they put walnuts, they put honey, they put brown sugar, maybe a raspberry. No one's ever put passion fruit. Like, why are you doing the thing that we're not doing on the ground? And why would we want it?
The marketing department now runs the world.
It is, but I want to scream at them that if nobody eats it on the ground, then why should we eat it in the air?
Well, it's the opposite effect, right? It's the push-pull marketing strategy. So instead of we're going to use demand to determine what people want, we're going to actually pick, and then we're going to jam it down their throats.
I think a lot of it is them just jacking off into a ceiling fan going, we like the way this sounds.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Which is marketing.
Right. And we kind of hope you don't eat our overnight oats. By the way, there's a pizza thing that's been trending online, so says Joe. Quadruple pepperoni with pepperoni grease mayo.
Oh, yeah, it's disgusting.
I've not even seen this. Who's offering this thing? Let me explain something about pepperoni, everybody. Listen to me about everything all the time. Sausage and onion is great on a pizza. Pepperoni is really salty. And when you cover your pizza every square inch with pepperoni, it's too salty.
That's the point of the anchovy, right? I said, you do 2, 3, 4, and the same applies to pepperoni. It's meat anchovy.
You do what you do on a Caesar salad with an anchovy.
Yeah.
You spread it out.
Yeah, this. I've seen this one going viral. This is disgusting. But I think I want to say this is that's actually a friend of mine, Greg from Devour Power. They I think this sells for almost $100.
Oh, the pizza?
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you. Look, if you've ever thought about this, and somebody tweeted to me the other day, and it drives me nuts, and it always drives me nuts, and it makes me. I want a sanctioning body. Somebody tweeted me this because I've been screaming about this for 25 years. They go, and I hope you agree. It goes like, in Manhattan, there's a bar that sells a $2,000 martini. It's a martini with a $2,000 diamond in it. And it's like, oh, that's not a fucking $2,000. I was going, look, you think okay, what if I just said, I have a $1 million Ford Pinto. It's a rusty bucket of shit. It doesn't run, but there's $1 million in the glove box.
Yeah.
That's not a $1 million Pinto. That's a Pinto with $1 million in the glove box.
Yeah, the whipped cream on shit. It's the $500 cheesesteak out of Philly somewhere, right? So they do a classic cheesesteak, and then they top it with gold leaves, and it's $500.
That's not. You take a fucking martini and put a diamond in it. Doesn't. Well, in that case, then I could take Bezos's yacht, and I could go, it's a $10 billion Yoo-hoo, because it comes with Bezos's yacht. Yeah. And you'd go, get the fuck out of here. And then you'd realize what assholes everyone is when they do it. They do it all the time. They go, Claudia Schiffer has a $1 million bra. It's a bra that's covered with $1 million worth of emeralds. Like, all right, that's not it. You can't do that. Am I right?
You're 100% right. But the way you would actually, like if it was a $1 million bra, I want to know that the bra was stitched, with a rare animal's fur.
That's right.
And
the size of Montana. What is the best fish? People, a lot of fish talk. A lot of people like, oh, locally and sourced and don't eat this one and mercury and endangered. And what is like, if you're just going to the market and you got a hankering for fish, what is the best piece you could buy? And then how shall you prepare it?
All right. So, entry level, right? Just gateway fish here, yellowtail mahi. That's where you want to start. Yellowtail or mahi. Or mahi, right? Both incredibly sustainable, so they're not at risk of being overfished. Don't worry about the mercury. By the way, that's all alarmism, sensationalism. Not a single person has ever died from mercury poisoning from seafood. But, and the way you prepare it, see, people overthink fish. You know, they're like, well, I got to go in this pan, and I got to do the brown butter, and I got to do this. It's really easy. You just rub it down with a little bit of butter. Actually do the opposite. So start it in a low temp oven. Right? Bring it up about 75% so it's still a little bit, raw in the center. Then throw it in a hot pan at the end. Because that way it's not going to stick. Because the reason it sticks, it's got all that moisture on the exterior. Fish is a lot of liquid. By cooking it first, you're releasing a lot of that moisture.
Baking it first,
Exactly. Then you sear it at the end, get the beautiful grill marks on there, finish it with citrus. That's it. That's all you need.
So it's just lemon and butter, basically.
Yeah, lemon, butter. If you want to get fancy, you can maybe throw some kumquats on there. It's the passion fruit of citrus.
Oh, really? Is kumquats having a renaissance?
I think they will. They are the sun-dried tomatoes. They will be the sun-dried tomatoes of 2025.
Really?
Yeah, mark my words. And burrata was the sun-dried tomatoes of like 2020.
Yeah, burrata got real hot.
Yeah, burrata got really hot. It was everywhere. Every year's got one, and I think we're moving into kumquat time.
What's the best salad?
Easy on the salad, it's just wild arugula, right? Because if I'm eating lettuce greens, none of them really have a flavor. The one that has a distinct flavor is arugula. It's like that peppery bite. You know it's arugula.
Yeah.
If I started feeding you lettuce greens right now, blindfolded, you wouldn't know the difference between, Bib and romaine. So arugula is the way to go. A lot of Parmesan. Ton of Parmesan, arugula, fresh lemon. The key with salad, let me give you a little trick here. You don't toss it with the dressing. You toss it with the vinegar first. Because if you think about it, the dressing is oil, so it's going to repel off the liquid, off the lettuce leaves. You hit it with the vinegar or the citrus first, then a little bit of oil at the end, so your greens are nice and they got that bite to them.
I'll tell you what's bugging the shit out of me, and it is my sun-dried tomatoes of 2024. All the restaurants switched to those miniature little tomatoes, those little fucking hard ones with the tough skins and liquidy guts that taste like fucking nothing. I want a goddamn beefsteak tomato. I'll take a Roma tomato. I want a big slab of tomato. I want a wheel of tomato. And they all went to these miniature little, I don't know what they call them, cuties or something, but there's all these little breeds that didn't exist. Now, back in the day, there was something called a cherry tomato. And all it was this round ball of pus with a kind of a tough skin that was a little bit bitter, and I didn't like a cherry tomato. I didn't understand what a cherry tomato did that a regular tomato couldn't do. And I realized they must just travel better or stay longer. They must just not go bad as fast. There must be a couple of tenths we're shaving here in terms of the bottom line of the restaurant, because fucking cherry tomatoes suck. Now, there were a couple of lunatics that like to eat them sometimes, but it's just like a pus ball in your mouth. I've gone to restaurants a few times now, and they've went like, oh, it's the this with the tomatoes. And I go, yeah, give me the that with the tomatoes. But the tomatoes are the fucking miniature, stupid, shitty tomatoes that are being sold to everyone now. And if you talk to any woman, they go, oh, I like those. They like them because they're called miniature cutie potatoes or smarty tomatoes or whatever they're calling the tomato. They taste like shit. We've once again fooled America into getting into these things. They're on every fucking salad now, and they don't tell you. The thing just says whatever and tomatoes. You know what I mean? Burrata and tomato. And I go, oh, okay. I've been to places where I go, I like the beefsteak tomato slab with the burrata, the pepper, and the balsamic vinegar, and the oil or whatever, and all these fucking little tomatoes show up.
Yeah. Well, two things on that one. So back to the marketing, right? So the intellectualism behind this was that we're packing a punch in a smaller space. Everything became micro about 10 years ago. Micro greens, micro zucchini, micro arugula, micro tomatoes.
Microaggressions.
Yeah, microaggressions, micro, you know what else. And these are, what you're referring to, you ready for the name of them too, just so you know? Teardrop tomatoes.
Yeah. Oh, ladies,
Yep.
come get your shitty tomatoes that have a cool name that some guy doesn't like chicks named.
Teardrop tomatoes. It's the Taylor Swift of tomatoes. And you are right about the bottom line. So you can produce those tomatoes, you can kind of go from like vine to production or harvest a lot shorter than you can the bigger tomatoes. Although you mentioned something in there that you glossed over, Romas. Romas are the answer. Romas are great because they're thin skinned. They ripen quickly. The sugar content's a lot higher, and they're cheap. Those beefsteaks now are like out of this world expensive.
It makes me angry when people want those tiered fucking drop tomatoes, and they don't tell you. And then also, trying to think, but I ordered some tomato stuff at a steakhouse, and they gave me the different colored ones that didn't taste that good. And I'm like, you gotta give me a fucking heads up. I think I'm ordering a tomato. You guys are giving me something that's orange and tastes like shit and is miniature.
The colors don't change the flavor too. That's the other thing. People will be like, "Ooh, the orange one is a little bit sweeter." They're all the same tomato. That's it's nature's food dye in there. Those are heirloom tomatoes.
Heirloom.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Now look. We're doing pretty good because my entire adult life, I float out ideas, and then everyone around me goes, "No, I disagree. I like the medium size. I like Pizza Hut medium crust. I like pepperoni. I like extra pepperoni." Like everything I float, everyone just disagrees. That's all I do. My entire life. I'm talking about family, friends, neighbors, people I've never met. I float an idea like, oh, no. I guarantee if you're not in the room and I go, listen, corn tortillas are much better on it. I'll have 8 people fucking yell out, and I'll just think that just means you're a retarded person. But everyone disagrees with me on everything. But you and I are simpatico. Now, the reason we're simpatico is because you're a fucking genius, and so am I. You're a food genius, but I'm a life genius, and I understand what's going on. And it doesn't take a genius to know that a corn tortilla is much better on a soft taco, but we may part ways here.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you something.
Okay, here we go.
So just kind of settle in, and I want you to know this is a safe environment for you, Andrew. And if you disagree, you disagree. And I'm going to float this out there. I like vegetables. I'm not a non-vegetable guy. I'm a guy who likes steak and vegetables, and I like to kind of take a bite. I'm a mixer, you know what I mean? I love going to a Mexican restaurant, getting some of that Spanish rice and a little bit of beans on the same spoon, the same fork. I like to put it together. So I realized something was going on with vegetables, especially at like steakhouses. Now, not the potato, but like the green beans and carrots and broccolini and stuff, everything got poached instead of cooked. So it was sort of half cooked and half raw. And like, I like a raw carrot's okay, but I don't want raw broccoli. It doesn't go. I want the stuff not poached. I want it cooked. Like I like Brussels sprouts came back. And Brussels sprouts, they were like poaching them, Yeah. So it was like eating a kind of semi-hard Brussels sprout that wasn't fully cooked. And it's like, I don't like that. I want a full cook. So like when I'm at home, the carrots, the Brussels sprouts, they get cooked right on through. And they taste so much better, like a fully cooked carrot and a fully cooked Okay, let me just do some math for everyone. Go take a raw Brussels sprout and take a bite out of it like an apple. Do you like it? The answer is no. Okay, do you like a fully cooked Brussels sprout? Well, the answer is yes. Well, then a half-cooked Brussels sprout is going to be half as good as a full-cooked Brussels sprout. But if your opinion differs, you may offer it.
No, I mean, I think that one you're universally people would universally agree with you. A partially cooked vegetable, and I'll tell you why that is. Once again, I'm not here to amplify your opinions and to just say yes, you're right. I'm here to tell you why you believe that, right? From the science of taste and what people are doing behind the scenes. In that one, what's happening behind the scenes is that they're blanching all the vegetables, the prep cook, right? So he's getting all the vegetables, they're prepping them, they're dropping them in boiling salted water, they're pulling them, they're shocking them. And then what they're supposed to be doing is then finishing them over high heat so they finish 100% all the way through. But workers nowadays in restaurants are horrible. And so what's happening is some prep cook back there is dropping them in the water or throwing them in the steamer again. They're removing the step where you finish them, you cook them all the way through, seasoned, finished butter or whatever wine, and they're just serving them to you because they're making their money on the steak, and they know you're probably going to throw the veggies away. That's what's happening.
Yeah, because I noticed it started, part of it became a little bit of a trend, like poached salmon. Poached salmon became a thing. It used to was raw for sushi. It was cooked at a seafood place, and then we came up with poached, which I don't have an argument with. It's like kind of brown on the outside and kind of rare on the inside. But we started poaching things, and we started poaching vegetables too, and I don't fucking like it. It is so much better, a fully cooked carrot or Brussels sprout or whatever it is, fully cooked through, always the best. Now, as long as we're talking about all this, what I sometimes burn myself because I go out to eat and I go to a steakhouse and I want the filet, you want the New York strip, you want the porterhouse, and sometimes I get to New York and it's like kind of thick and it's a little tough, and I'm like halfway into it and I was like, oh, I got the wrong steak.
Yeah, never order the strip at a restaurant, and I'll tell you why. Is that the strip, the loin itself, right? So halfway down, there's a vein that starts to run through as the muscle runs into another kind of primal piece. And that vein, in our restaurants, when we break them down, we save that for well done because it'll cook out at well done. But so you have a 50-50 chance, and you'll see it at the store. When you look at the strip on a lot of them, they're just the clean eye, and then on some of them, they have that fat vein that just goes right through it. It's a tendon. Inedible, and it will ruin your steak. So you have a 50-50 chance of getting one with the vein, and even if you ask for it without the vein, they're not going to know what you're talking about. Never get the strip at the steakhouse.
So never get the strip at the steakhouse.
No.
What should one get at the steakhouse?
And don't get the filet either.
And don't get the filet. I don't get the filet, but keep going.
Go for the off. So flat iron flank steak, petite tender, which is actually a mock tender, is a good one you're starting to see on menus. These are less expensive.
And so what about, let's see, what am I thinking of? What are the most, there's usually like 4 or 5 offerings.
Ribeye is the number one. It goes ribeye, filet, porterhouse, strip, and then there's one off cut.
All right, so which ones out of those should we get?
Well, if you're doing it in order, go with the ribeye, right? But once again, on the ribeye, you don't know, because one nice piece of ribeye's got that beautiful eye and the lifter cap, which is the spinalis on top, which is delicious. But then you might get the other end of the rib where it runs into the chuck, and you got almost like 3 steaks in one rib that are all they're still going to taste good, but they're going to cook differently because they're technically 3 different muscles. So one might be medium, mid-well, mid-rare.
All right, but don't get the strip.
Don't get the strip. I will say this, and this is going to sound crazy. Always get the cheapest cut on the menu, and here's why. The reason those cuts are cheaper is because they're they don't demand them as much, right? And typically they come from an off-cut that's got more motion, more connective tissue, which means more flavor. So you might have a touch more chew, but you're getting a ton more flavor. And if you're at a good steakhouse, they're charring the exterior, so you're getting a ton of flavor there. Always go with the cheap cut. Guaranteed to be the most flavorful.
Wow. Well, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's get into sides.
All right.
I feel like a lot of people I go out with always move toward the cream corn, and I'm like, I don't know what's in that shit. Like,
exactly.
It feels like a kind of gooey mess to
Don't
me.
do the cream corn.
Don't do the cream corn?
Never do the cream corn because, first of all,
Never do the cream corn.
And I ran steakhouses. Nobody eats the cream corn.
No.
Right? And so because of that, you're most likely the cream corn's on like day 3 or 4.
Oh, and so what about the cream spinach?
Cream spinach is, and if you want to be that kind of, I don't want to say annoying, but cumbersome guest, ask, is the cream spinach pre-creamed or cream to order? Now, the reason that's important is that if a restaurant's taking all the spinach and then cooking it down with the cream, cooling it, and then just reheating it, you're going to have broken down spinach. It's going to taste like dirt. The cream's going to break. If they're sauteing the spinach fresh and then hitting it with a little cream sauce, then it's great. All
right. Now, I figure sort of keep it simple. Like just get a baked potato and split it with somebody and put butter on it or whatever you want on it, but you can't really fuck up a baked potato. Stay away from the cream this or cream that because it can be a roll of the dice. I don't know when America allegedly fell in love with broccolini, but I never fucking signed off on broccolini. It doesn't taste that good. It's unwieldy. It's a little weird. Everyone just went, we love broccolini. I'm like, nobody likes broccolini. Who said we liked broccolini? It's like, we like sun-dried tomatoes on our pizza. I'm like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Broccolini just showed up like a hurricane and just took everything over. And I was like, I'd much rather have broccoli cooked well or through than broccolini. I don't know what happened with broccolini. I like broccoli. I don't really like broccolini that much.
The problem with broccolini is that when the tops are cooked perfectly, the stems are still raw.
Yes.
So you got to separate the tops from the stems, but then you don't have that broccolini anymore, right?
What the fuck happened to everybody? Was
marketing.
Broccoli broken?
Yeah.
They like the way everything sounds. These are teardrop tomatoes.
Teardrop tomatoes, broccolini, and microaggressions. That's culinary 2025. But
right.
the best side, though, to answer your question, is you're right. Either the baked potato or go with the roasted potatoes, right? Where you get the the red bliss potatoes or Dutch baby yellow potatoes. The roasted potatoes, because typically in steakhouses they're actually cooking those in the same pans they finish the beef in. So you get a little bit of that beef tallow, that beef fat in there, the saltiness from whatever was left over. So it's kind of a sure thing. Cheap meat, roasted potatoes.
Cheap meat, roasted potatoes on the side. What do we start with at the steakhouse?
Deviled eggs if they got them.
Oh,
deviled eggs.
I fucking knew you were a genius.
Yeah, always the
There's
deviled
nothing
eggs.
better. How come everyone doesn't love deviled eggs? I got a problem with people. There's two things I love that no one else likes. Three things. I like deviled eggs. I like fresh beets. And I like plantains. And I don't think there's a human being that I could ever marry that liked all three of those items.
That's a good point.
Can you think of a woman that you could marry if the rule was you got to like plantains, deviled eggs, and fresh beets? Fresh beets are fucking awesome. But all these things kind of divide the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deviled eggs are the best. But don't get all fucking highfalutin with your deviled eggs.
Yeah.
Make good deviled eggs. I don't need tons of bacon spread all over the top of the deviled eggs.
The deviled eggs, the reason I say to start with those, right, because you want protein. Everybody starts off with the bread, the butter, a ton of sugar, carbs, and then what happens is that actually screws your whole metabolism up to then eat the steak. So you want to start with the protein. It actually is going to make the steak
deviled eggs.
taste better.
They're hard to find sometimes.
Yeah. But the key on deviled eggs, and we just did a huge demo on this, is that, you ready for this one? When you're making deviled eggs, and if you're making them at home, switch the mayo with, decrease the mayo and brown butter. So brown some butter and fold that into your deviled egg mix. Unbelievable. Your world will change. You might be a different person.
Let me ask you a couple deviled eggs related questions. Hey, if I change because of deviled eggs, then so be it. So I fucking love deviled eggs. Here's the thing. I used to do a funny thing. I love deviled eggs, right? And so I used to go out to dinner with my family, and of course, none of those dunces liked deviled eggs. You know, the kids didn't like my ex-wife. No one wanted deviled eggs. But I'd see the deviled eggs on the menu, and I'd never see them on the menu. So I go, I'm ordering deviled eggs. And then I would eat 6 deviled eggs. And then they'd go like, what do you want for the entree? And I'd lean back and undo my belt and be like, I just ate 6 fucking deviled eggs. This place, tell me what you think of this. You got to serve a deviled egg, right?
Yep.
You can't just throw it on a plate. It starts rocking around.
Yeah.
So you could either get a deviled egg holder, like a bespoke deviled egg tray to present the deviled eggs, or you could do what this place did, which I'm curious if you find this innovative or showboating. They would take a little dollop of the deviled egg, put it on the plate, and stick it.
Yeah, that's what we do. So we do a lobster deviled egg, and then the key is you go deviled eggs mix, smeared across the plate, and then just stick the egg in it.
And then do you look at me as a heathen for then licking the shit off the plate after I'm done eating all the deviled eggs?
That's the key. Actually, and that's why we do it, right, is for that reason. Is I know if I watch every plate that comes back in because it goes past Expo. So if there's something left on the plate, I'm always, the servers hate me. What is this? Did they not like it? Go find out.
Smart. Right.
When I see the deviled egg plate come back and it's
finger
licked,
drag, I drag the finger.
yeah, what that does for my ego is,
Oh my God! That is
over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the deviled egg starter.
Yeah, the deviled egg starter, and on the beets, that's interesting. You bring up the beets because that is as divisive as it gets. You
Tear
love
the room
them
apart,
or you hate them.
The beets, like the plantain, will divide a country. It's really Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And There's just beets and plantains, just boom.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about beets. Get the big beets. Listen, they make pre-cooked beets, little baby fucking teardrop micro fucking beets.
Yep.
Fuck that. Get a softball-sized beet, boil it for like 2 hours, and then chop it up and get big nuggets of beets. Don't eat it cold. Eat it when it's a little bit warm.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Stuff tastes better when it's a little bit warm.
Yeah. I'll give you another trick. So that water you boil them in, just cover the beets, right? So you put 4 beets in there, cover it, let it boil. It might even come down a little bit and be steaming. Now you got this beet water, right?
Beet water.
So actually add to that like balsamic vinegar and some sugar and then reduce it down into a syrup and then toss your beets in that syrup. So it's like beet on beet action. Just B-O-B. Bob.
So you like beets too?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're a genius. You're a genius.
And you know why the beets are red, right?
No.
Because it saw the salad dressing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I got 4 kids. Come on, I had to pull that one out.
Well, listen. Now, again, they do the same to the tomatoes with the beets. I got the golden beets now. Everything just tastes the same. So just go get what you want.
Yep.
But do the beets, man. I don't know. What would you guys say? We need to do a survey here. How do more people like beets or plantains? Because that's a tough one. Beets, and then there's kind of an age thing with beets. And also I feel like beets are more accepted now than they were 20 years ago.
Because of the because of the juices.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Once people start getting the beet juices, then they're like, oh, I think I like the beets.
There's also like things come around, like people, look, when I was in high school, nobody drank gin. You know what I mean? Now gin has come back. I was told, by the way, that it's got to be a gin martini because vodka is just sort of tasteless and odorless. Any thoughts?
I mean, no, like I said, I've got 4 kids, so if I'm drinking a martini, next thing you know, they're on the roof and I got my pants off, so it's been a while.
Been a while.
Yeah. But, to that point, though, I keep pushing at the restaurant that we got to start selling Zima. Like, we got to bring Zima back.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're going to bring Zima back, bring Tequiza back.
Oof.
Tequiza was like Zima about the same time. Find a Tequiza bottle. Tequiza was another like malt-based beverage.
Okay.
Tasted a little like tequila, but it was another bullshit. It was Bartles and James for the next generation.
Tequiza was tequila beer.
Yeah, but it wasn't as good. I mean, it was made by Procter and Gamble or something, and it wasn't like just tequila beer. I don't think.
Oh, there we go.
That is maybe there was more than one tequila because I guess there is a tequila beer, but it's still 5% alcohol, right? Yeah, I don't know. Stock a little tequiza.
Some tequiza. Yeah.
So, all right, we're starting with the deviled eggs. You're a genius. Certain places don't have deviled eggs, but don't start with the bread boat. That's what you're saying. Start with a protein.
You can, but the bread just starts to screw things up. So things taste differently. You're not able to enjoy your entrees. Don't you hate when you go out to eat and you eat way too many appetizers and then the food comes and it's just mediocre because you're eating because you have it in front of you, but you really shouldn't be eating because you filled up on the bread or the deviled eggs.
Is the so you start. Is there salads or soup? Some places don't have deviled eggs, sadly.
Yeah. So then what I do is, and we're talking steakhouses here, right? So you're going to run into the beef tartare, tuna tartare, mozzarella and fresh tomato salad. We covered that. The deviled eggs, ideally. And then, if maybe you've got some sort of a cheese and meat thing there, I'll go with that. I'll go with if it's like a prosciutto and, a mild creamy cheese.
But you're saying focus on the protein.
Yeah.
Lean toward the protein. Salads, beginning salads, thoughts?
Beginning salads. I personally love Cobb. I love a Cobb salad, right? And I'll tell you why. Because with most salads now at restaurants, they sell you on a, let's call it a beet salad, right? With all these greens. You get all these greens tossed up, typically from a bag, and then you get like 3 pieces of beet on it.
Yes, that they sell you beet salad like it's beet salad, like the $1 Million Martini. Just got a diamond at the bottom of it. It's not really beet. Beet salad comes with more fluff greens than beets, which always pisses me off.
Any salad so the fork trick that you described, the way I tell my team members in the restaurant is that for every salad you make, if they stuck a fork in every bite, I want everything that's supposed to be in that salad, the interior garnish, to be on every bite on your fork, right? Versus 10% you get the good stuff, 90% you're just getting mescaline mix from a bag.
Right.
So with a Cobb salad, you're almost proofing yourself so that you know you're going to get that, because then you get the line, you get the bacon, the egg, the blue cheese, the tomato, the teardrops, and whether they do onions or pickled onions.
Ugh, I should outlaw those fucking teardrops. They're the bane of my existence. They taste like shit. So how much have your costs gone up? Like Dr. Drew called me the other day, and he goes, Jesus Christ, I went out to a steakhouse in Glendale, just me and my wife, no drinks. It was $300. And I was like, God damn, you're right. Like, it's so fucking expensive now. And as a guy who runs the business, I want to know how your costs have changed over the last several years.
High level, right now, the goal is to break even, right? So we don't even think about profit at this point in California. It's strictly break even. And my strategy, we're franchising out of state, so it's like we build up the enterprise here in California, sell license deals out of state, as long as this one breaks even. And we're doing well, right? We have a high top line sales, but it's more than doubled. All the costs have
more than doubled.
Doubled.
Just for a piece of meat, like a steak. Or protein.
So let me put it to you this way. So more
than doubled in what period of time?
Over the past 3 years. Over the past 3 years. So let's take like a 16-ounce, 16-ounce bone-in ribeye that perhaps was 18 to 20 a pound is now over 40 a pound for a good quality piece of meat. And we sell that for like in the high 30s, but if I'm losing money on that, it's like a 70% plate cost. If I wanted to actually sell it, typically in a restaurant, if you want to make money, you do 4x, 25% cost of goods. So if something cost you $2 raw, you'd sell it for $8. It's general formula. If I had to sell that 16-ounce ribeye at 40 a pound, right? So I'd have to sell it for 80 plus, coming with nothing else, which we don't. We'll still sell it in the 30s. But just to give you an idea of how far costs have gone over the past 3 to 4 years. And naturally, it started in the beginning of the pandemic because it was transportation. But you got to forget about, or people forget and they don't talk about the cultural element of what happened during the pandemic. And it was like, well, if you want me to come back to work, I need the following benefits and I need X, Y, and Z. California stepped in and said, well, we're going to show the country how you do that.
Yeah.
And, so now they're even passing laws where if you don't show up to work for 3 days, it's illegal to fire that person. They get 3 days of no call, no show. They get paid, and you cannot fire them for that.
Yeah. Well, California always leads the way in retarded ideas.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I always want to tell, whenever Gavin Newsom does that, he goes, California, we lead the way, and whatever he's plugging, giving migrants $150,000 house vouchers or whatever. I go, you don't understand, everyone's making fun of California and looking at California as what not to do. But you say that in California, this is sort of what you're up against. Is it, how much of it is just regulatory? How much of it is beyond that?
It's everything, right? So I break it down to it's like the perfect confluence of crime, regulation, and taxes, right? So crime goes up, people don't go out as much, restaurant gets broken into, you kind of see this fraying of the moral fabric of your community or just society in general. So what does that mean for restaurant owners? Well, limited hours, more staff to protect, the workers that are working past dark, and then the natural loss of products. But even more so, short paying, dine and dashers. People. We used to have one dine and dash every 2 or 3 years. Now we get one a day.
Really?
Yeah. One day or every 2 days.
At your level.
Yeah, at our level.
I mean, it's a sort of used to be kind of a Denny's thing. You know what I mean? But you're running high-end establishments.
Yeah, and but also it's the short pay, right? So what we're seeing is things like $120 check. Somebody leaves $100, and they leave. They thank the server. They act totally normal, and it's just. Well, I feel like the meal was $100.
They really it's called short pay.
Yeah,
and they leave $100 cash.
$100 cash
on a $120 meal, which is obviously no tip woven into that either, and that's it. So there's short pay and dine and dash.
Yeah, and what I've noticed about the short pay is that my philosophy on that is it's just this kind of Prop 47, right? Well, the guy over there is stealing $900. At least I left $100. It's this kind of dropping of the bar when it comes to your moral standards or your North Star. So that's the crime piece. The regulations are just out of control, from environmental regulations to just the regulations associated with getting product, transportation, seafood, local products, any of that. If you want to buy that, then you're going to pay a premium on it. And that's local, state, and federal. Local, state, and federal. And then you put taxes, right? California's the highest in payroll taxes. So when you see things, and I don't think we start talking about tax on tips, people don't realize our servers make minimum wage, which is anywhere from $16 to $20 an hour to start. Then they're bringing in $60 plus an hour in tips, right? So they're walking with $80 an hour. The restaurants pay payroll taxes in a higher bracket on those tips. So the restaurant is paying a significant amount of money. And what's funny is the difference between Trump and Kamala's plan. They were kind of comparing them as if they were the same. Kamala was the restaurant was going to keep paying payroll taxes.
On taxes on tips.
Taxes on tips and tits. Kamala's plan was the restaurant would pay even more to cover the loss. Trump was full elimination, payroll, business, and employee. And then Kamala's plan also capped everyone at $75,000. So if you make over $75,000, that doesn't apply to you. But they kind of traipsed it out there like, yeah, we're doing the same thing. No big deal. So the taxes there are just unbelievable. So kind of a combination of all three.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this is attractive to people, but it is very attractive to so many people who don't run businesses. What's attractive are the top line sales potential. So because everything's so inflated here, people make a lot more money, by way of that inflation. Your top line sales are going to be higher. So when you're talking to somebody in Alabama and you say, I got a 2,000 square foot restaurant, we're doing $2 million in Alabama. And then you say, well, I've got a 2,000 square foot restaurant in California, we're doing $3 million. Right.
But we're netting 0 and he's netting 10 on $2 million.
Right.
It's like, $3 million? That's unbelievable. Like, that's a great concept.
When you say 10, you mean 10%?
10% net,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I wish people ran businesses. And when I was thinking about, I've said the other day, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Tim Walz combined have been on the planet for exactly 200 years and have exactly 0 private sector experience. Yeah. And I'm like, can't do that. You have to have people that had experience with hiring and firing, and especially regulation. It's a huge. It's funny. We always talk about your rights. Your right. Can you smoke pot outdoors or marry whoever you love, or an abortion, or whatever it is? The government taking away tons of your money is a really big problem in terms of your rights. And I don't know why more people don't look at them taking all of my fucking money away as not infringing upon my civil liberties. You know what I mean? At gunpoint, by the way, try not paying them. And like, why isn't that a thing that people think about or talk about? It's like, we don't care. It's unbelievable to me how generally accepted that is. But furthermore, let's even take it a step further and say, okay, well, we all agree maybe we need to throw a little bit into the pot and ante up. But what they're spending that money on, that's even more offensive, and nobody cares. Like,
I posted the other day. I said, here's all the taxes we pay, and it was like 98 taxes, just strictly federal. And you start to go through the list, and it's asinine, and you're laughing about it. And then all these people are commenting, well, I mean, do you like your roads? Right? Do you like your police?
Right.
And that money's not going towards it. That money's going to provide, research or grants to investigate, trans gerbils in Pakistan or what have you, or the Pentagon is just wasting $4 billion that they can't find.
Right. Yeah, I know. I wish we could talk about reeling it in a little bit. There's only two things that ever gave me a boner that came out of the politicians' mouths, which is one, Rick Caruso, who was running for mayor of Los Angeles, said, if I'm elected, I'm going to hire 1,000 sanitation people day one, and we're going to clean this town up.
Yep.
It's a mess. There's garbage everywhere. And I was like, yeah, that guy. And then Trump said, I'm going to get Elon Musk to be my government of waste official, and he's just going to start looking into waste because there's way too much waste. And I'm like, yeah, let's tighten it up a little bit, fellas. I know you plan is always to figure out how to get me to give you more money, but how about a plan about you spending less money, and I'll meet you in the middle.
Yeah, well, and I say, everything comes back to food. If you look at food and what happened to our health, what happened to food in general the minute the government got involved by way of the FDA, the EPA, all their regulations, it's only gotten worse. We've only gotten sicker. Every single decision they've made has turned out to have been wrong, right?
Everything they do turns out to be wrong.
Everything.
I completely agree. Now there's going to be vaccines that they got wrong. It's the food pyramid they got wrong. It's ivermectin they got wrong. It's hydroxychloroquine they got wrong. They get everything wrong to the point where I'm wondering if they're just on a losing streak or they're actually up to something that's nefarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would almost, I go back and forth on the nefarious element because on the one hand, it's hard for me to say that they're the dumbest people in the world, but then on the other hand, to think that they can collude and pull together, I think it's a combo of both, right? You got a few nefarious people who are ultimately just leading the dummies along. Yes, okay, that sounds like a good idea, food pyramid, or whatever the issue is, but every single thing is wrong. So, when you go back to Waltz, Harris, Biden, and private business, one of the things that is in your life every day when you run a business, when you work in the private sector, is this idea of unintended consequences. Every single thing you do has a consequence.
100%.
That's when you only work in government, you are protected from unintended consequences.
Yes. Yeah, well, you go, look, we'll shut the schools down for 2 years, and what are you going to do, fire us?
Yeah.
When all the kids come back depressed and dumb and commit suicide or OD on fentanyl, what are you going to do, fire us, teachers union?
And in many cases,
what the fuck we want.
And in many cases, there's actually statutory protections for unintended consequences, like when certain, pharmaceutical companies aren't liable for any of the, the mistakes in their medicine, what have you. So there's even the government is even stepping in from a statutory perspective and saying, no, don't worry, no unintended consequences. The American people will absorb those problems.
Yes.
I didn't ask you to speak for me.
Yeah, it's an issue, and my whole thing is like, I talk about this with Dr. Gruel all the time. It's like, I just want smaller government. I just want less of what they're doing. That's all. Yeah. I don't know what that makes me. A racist? I don't know. I just want less of what they're peddling. That's
micro-government. Micro-government.
Yes, I want tomatoes to be bigger and government to be smaller.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, right, as a thought experiment. What do you think would happen if they eliminated the health department?
I don't, it's an interesting thing because I've had a couple of ladies on the show, and they started going nuts about the 2025 product or whatever project 2025, and you fucking imbeciles will fall for anything CNN fucking carts out in front of your retarded face. Like, you just buy it You were talking about Russian collusion in the Steele dossier for 4 fucking years, you fucking idiots. You got duped. Now you're getting duped times 2. You got duped on ivermectin. The horse paste. You fucking retards get duped every 10 seconds. Slow your roll a little bit. But they were cackling about the Project 2025, and then they go, who wants to get rid of the Board of Education? I'm like, so do I. And they're like, what? You don't want kids? I mean, they always do this thing where it's like, you don't want kids to go to school? No. It's been around since 1980. Check the test scores. They were much better before 1980 than they are now that they're all fucking mobbed up and unioned up. I don't know. It's not an insane thought to keep it local. And I feel the same way with all the big boards and all. We just got fucked by COVID and WHO and Rochelle Walensky talking about her CDC, talking about her fucking lying about her kid who didn't get the shot or did get the shot or couldn't go to sleepaway camp this year. We just got done listening to all you fucking big guys lie about everything. Yes, I think we could have got through COVID without the CDC lying about everything. I'm old. Call me crazy.
Yeah.
I think we could have made it without Rochelle Walensky lying about everything, and then take your fucking marching orders from the school unions and the teachers unions in terms of shutting schools down. Yes, I think we could have made it. I could have made it.
Well, on the flip side, what did the CDC do?
They peddled misinformation
Exactly.
and incorrect information. That's all they did.
I'd love to see their resume, right? You know, when you're going to the next job, it's like, well, I dropped sales numbers by X, Y. What did the CDC do? Absolutely nothing. I remember.
Well, they lied a lot, too, because they were like, oh, natural immunity. The jury's still out. Like, no, they
Wrong.
knew that.
Again.
No, they lied. Listen. I got put on academic probation at a junior college, and my COVID batting average was a ton higher than the CDC. You can take every single thing I said about COVID, write it down, take every single thing Rochelle Walensky and the CDC said about COVID, put them next to each other, and we'll see who had a higher batting average.
Yep.
So they're fucking liars. And I can do without the CDC. I can do without the Board of Education. I can do without all these big mega government complexes that just, and by the way, every year they don't hire new teachers, they hire new administrators, and now this becomes this big bloated behemoth.
Yeah. Well, and so
test scores go down.
So to my point about the health department being kind of emblematic of that is that they do absolutely nothing to protect you from the risks and the hazards at a restaurant. It is nothing more than a security blanket. So you think, oh, well, yeah, the health department's out there keeping us protected. I can tell you right now, when they come in, the health department comes into the restaurant, they literally dip, a little test strip in one bucket with water, and if it's off, by the way, they say, well, that's not a critical violation, don't worry. They look around to make sure that the refrigerators are the right temperature, and even when they're not, you say to them, everybody knows this, oh, well, we've been opening the door and closing the door, and they say, okay, that's no problem.
The fridge door.
They fill out the form, and that's it.
Right.
I have never had, and I remember I called the health department. I said, hey, is it all right if I store my serving spoons in water, but I don't want it in the chemical water because I don't want any of that flavor to go across. Yeah, we'll get back to you on that. Never heard from them. They're not there to provide any consult. It's as if we don't have our own agency. That's the point here. So when you use the health department as kind of that conduit to have that conversation, multiply that, right?
Oh, and listen. I have my own trials and tribulations with the building department. It's the same thing. They don't give a fuck. All right. So you and I should sit down, eat some deviled eggs, and talk about the government. Let me give you a plug, Chef. American Gravy, weekly episodes, and also available on X. I got to get out. Where should I come out to?
Huntington Beach? Yeah, Calico, right on Pacific Coast Highway. Yeah. We have a booth for Dr. Drew. We've got nameplate on there and everything.
Oh, that asswipe. Yeah, keeps all right. I'm going to get out there with Dr. Drew and Andrew Gruel, Chef Gruel. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Simply Safe. If you're like me, you think about safety and you think about people. And that's who you value the most, because you can replace the watch or the necklace, but the people. And there's a lot of crime, especially going on here in L.A. I mean, every time you turn on the radio, some other celebrity got their home busted into, and those are just the ones they're reporting on. I've trusted Simply Safe to protect my home for over a decade now, and I've partnered with Simply Safe to offer my listeners 20% off a system. Just visit simplysafe.com/and we all use it here. And when you pick up and move, you pick up your Simply Safe system and you move with it. It's not hardwired. They also have exclusive LiveGuard protection. Simply Safe agents can act within 5 seconds of receiving your alarm and can even see and speak to the intruders inside of your home. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News & World Report 5 years running. And Best Customer Service by Newsweek. It is Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
Protect your home this summer with 20% off any new Simply Safe system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/Adam. That's simplysafe.com/Adam. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
BetterHelp. The show is sponsored by BetterHelp. October is the season for wearing masks, even if you feel fake, like you're wearing a mask, like it's Halloween and you're going as Freddy Krueger again. Therapy can help you learn to accept all parts of yourself so you can take the mask off and take a break. Show the world the real you. Therapy is something I've always been involved in, and I've always thought it was important, and I think that's why Dr. Drew and I have always gotten on so well. We're both huge fans of therapy, and if you want to give BetterHelp a try, it's entirely online, it's convenient, and it's flexible. So no sitting in the waiting room with this prying eyes. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist. Switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Take care of yourself with BetterHelp, right, Dawson?
Take off the mask with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Carolla today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Carolla.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly offers friendly, helpful service and the parts and knowledge you'll need for all your maintenance and repairs. I've always gone to O'Reilly. I used to live up in the hills in La Crescenta. I'd go to the one up on Foothill. Still there. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you'll never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car, which is nice. You don't have to pull it. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fixed, quick service, they'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help as well. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the team at O'Reilly knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. So the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in the store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
I come from a famous family, being the Wayans. Yeah, thank you. Some of y'all don't know. Y'all like, what? It's been hard, though, because, you know, a lot of y'all know half of my family is rich and half of them are poor. And she's like, yep. And I grew up on the poor side, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, I've been in all A films. You just gotta have a hell of a slow motion button.
Chaunte Wayans is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Chaunte's got a film that is out, Advanced Chemistry, and is out on digital release via Good Deed Entertainment as well. Live dates coming up, Mic Drop Mania. That's in Chandler, Arizona, October 10th through the 12th. YouTube channel, Instagram, website, cwayans.com. That's the letter C. Good to see you, Chaunte.
Good to see you too, man. Such a pleasure.
Yeah. I think I go way back. I remember doing Keenan Ivory's talk show. I did his talk show a million years ago.
Jeez, what was that on for, like a half a season?
I can't. It's all such a blur.
Yeah.
Everybody got a talk show for a while.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson had a talk show back in the day. Then there was Vibe, which was like a black talk show, but then they got rid of Chris Spencer or somebody.
Oh,
I don't know if somebody replaced him. Terry Bradshaw had. I did everybody's show.
Hilarious. I did not know Magic Johnson had a... What was he talking about?
You know, AIDS, gay sex, you know, the talk show fare, you know, monologue stuff. Put a smile on your face before you go to bed. No, look it up, Dawson.
Sheila E. was the band leader, wasn't she?
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, Matt, the problem with the talk shows, which you realize, is you are this beloved character for a long period of time, but 10 minutes after you start doing a talk show, you're just a bad talk show host.
Yeah.
You get no goodwill from whatever it is you did. It's like Tom Brady, the GOAT, the best football player to ever put cleats on, does 10 minutes in a broadcast booth like, that dude sucks. Get him out of there. That's how we are as a society, right?
Yeah. And I think that people were trying to lean in, like now you almost get to make what you want to make. So you get to talk about what you want to talk about. And when you go from I look at Keenan going from In Living Color to a talk show, that's completely far from the kind of funny and person that he was at that time.
Well, what they would do, it was called The Magic Hour, of course, 1998 for one season. What they would do, I don't think they really do it anymore, but what they would do is they'd go, this person's got a lot of heat from this thing, give them a talk show.
Yeah.
And they used to do it in the 70s. They'd go, there's a couple, they're mimes, they play Vegas, give them a variety show. Like they would just take people and go, this person's popular, give them a variety show.
Yeah.
And sometimes it worked, but most of the time it didn't, because that's not where they thrived.
They're still doing that. They're doing that now with influencers. They're like,
Right,
they're funny on TikTok. Let's get them on the road.
Yeah. Now, you grew up where? New York?
Yeah, New York, all over. We was like a army family without the army. But we lived like in every borough of New York and then moved to Jersey.
And your dad, your mom, they did what?
My mom, she was like a receptionist and stuff. She worked a lot, but yeah, my mother, I think at a certain point, we saw them get famous. So there was like a little leeway of like things that we would do for them. So we kind of all started shifting there, and then some people just didn't keep moving forward.
And how was it watching? Because you're not old, but you're old enough to have been aware when it hit, when they hit, right?
Yeah.
Started watching Living Color and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was, the cool thing was we were able to like be out late. Like they would have premieres. I remember being at premieres and having to go to school the next day. So we had like our down the street neighbor who would come with us and make us leave early kind of stuff. But I was around everything, like seeing Jay-Z, Beyonce, all these celebrities. But at the time, there was so many perks, but then you hated like the family gatherings at a restaurant and people wanting to come and take pictures. So you didn't have that like, we get to spend time with our family. Everybody wanted to come take pictures, and those are Polaroid days. So you had to wait for it to come out and stuff. It was just so I loved it, but I didn't like the not being able to hang out with my family.
Yeah, without being so visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have one famous person, that's a difficult enough task. But if you have a bunch of famous people, then
you guys were the original Kardashians. The whole family went out there famous.
That is true.
Yeah, that is.
But I mean, with talent.
Well, apparently, I still would have took the Kim Kardashian way in some ways because they got more money than us.
Well, they're kind of the ultimate American dream because they don't possess any particular talent. Their talent is living in this country and making money.
Yeah, and apparently Kim Kardashian is the best lawyer out here for black dudes.
Yeah,
she keep getting them off of their sentences.
Yeah, she's working on the Menendez brothers now.
Oh yeah, she is.
Too.
She switched over.
Yeah, although I think what happens is like she waits until they have like 1 foot out of the prison gates, and then she swings in and goes, I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like the surgeon does 9 hours worth of heart surgery, and then she just slides in and puts a Band-Aid on. Yeah, she just stitches them up and then goes, my work is done here.
Yeah.
And then she goes and has a press conference, but she wasn't doing all the nuts and bolts. I know Mark Garagos, I know their attorney, and I know what the story is with those guys. And I think they're getting out.
Oh, I think so too. I mean, this is such a touchy topic, but I think that they should.
I do too. I've been saying it into a microphone for 25 years.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
I'm way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
With everything. Well, okay, let's try to break it down.
Yeah.
The people I want incarcerated in general, regardless of familial crime or whatever it is they did, the number one group of people I want incarcerated are people who do random acts of violence to other human beings. Mm-hmm. The guys that, Martha Stewart trading inside for stocks or something. Okay, I'm not gonna say we should build a statue to her, but it doesn't really affect me and my family, Also, the people, the wife who's being abused in a loveless marriage of 30 years who's poisoning her husband, not going to punch me waiting to get on the subway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So number one group that needs to go are rando people who just push people on the subway tracks or stab somebody who's walking down. Random violent shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's the number one group I need locked up.
Yeah.
After that, we start getting into drug addicts and wives that poison their husbands and sons that kill their dads who molested them and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, do those people pose a threat to you or I or society when they get pushed out of prison? Like, even if the Menendez brothers were never in prison, would they have posed a threat to society?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then I'm not that wound up in them being incarcerated, even if they did something heinous.
I mean, unless they just started going on a spree.
Yeah, they just got a taste. Right. They got a taste for blood.
Just for parents, though. Like,
they got a taste of parent blood. Yeah.
But I don't think so. That's a very touchy thing, and I'm sure even if they didn't go to jail, it just altered everything. Love and what you learn starts in the household. So for them to, I heard they found the letter where they tried to speak out. From my understanding, they did try to tell somebody. And when you don't have someone to even investigate or feel like you're protected, what do?
Well, you don't necessarily have to shoot your parents,
no.
but...
Well, in the sorry to cut you off, but in the documentary, in what they showed the series, it shows that they thought the parents was going to do something to them, right?
Yeah, it's hard to tell from the series exactly what people's thoughts were because it's all kind of sensationalized and supersized. But I will say this. If you molest your sons, as a dad, you run the risk of getting shot by your sons. Yeah. And I have my general thoughts are sometimes people go, this guy, he jumped into this other guy's yard. All he was doing is stealing his barbecue, and he's dead now. Yeah. And I'm like, that is a lot for stealing someone's barbecue, getting shot by your neighbor.
Yeah.
But it is avoidable.
Yeah.
Don't go in your neighbor's yard and try to steal.
Right.
Now, 9 times out of 10, you get a free barbecue.
Right.
But 1 out of 10, you get a bullet in your neck.
Right.
So that's it. But that's the wheel you spin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I used to, sadly, with my parents, sometimes I used to talk a fair bit of shit about them on the radio. Because they were not fantastic parents.
Yeah.
Not molested.
Oh, thank God.
That would have been an effort. I didn't get that kind of effort. No, I
can't talk about that on terrestrial radio.
We have so much in common.
I said, listen, if you're not good to your kids, there's a 99% chance they'll just be some alcoholic on some construction site somewhere and you'll never have to hear from them again. But there is a 1% chance that they get a radio gig and tell the truth about you. Or become a stand-up comedian and work you into their act. Like, that is a risk you're taking as a parent. If you want to be a shit parent, you'll probably get away with it. But there's a small chance that person may get a microphone.
Right.
And then you're going to get it.
Right.
But as long as, if they don't lie, then it's not talking shit. If they're being accurate, but that is a chance you take.
Yeah. And it's listen, especially with the outreach we have now with social media and all these things, it's just, people got to tread lightly. They just got to tread lightly.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I'm saying, starting with the parents and just the fact that we have such a the social media where we can put so much out.
You don't
there.
even need a talk show these
Yeah,
days.
you don't even-
Your parents abuse you. You go on TikTok and you're like, "That's my mom right there, and she did this morning."
Hashtag abuse,
Yeah.
and it's gonna go. It could go viral.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it worked. It'd be nice if Ring doorbell cameras worked.
Oh,
you know what I mean? They work, and that we get to see people steal our shit now, whereas we can only imagine seeing them steal our shit before, but it doesn't catch them or do anything about them. But yeah, the other problem too with the way kids are coming up, they're literally what used to be nothing to us is abuse to them.
Yeah.
Like literally telling them they're wrong. Or going, shut up, I'm your parent, you're not allowed to talk to me that way. Like these kinds of basic statements of fact, that's now borders on abuse.
Yeah.
Like literally just going, I'm the parent because I said so. You do not run this household. I pay for everything in this house and I run this house. You do not run this house. Saying that is grounds for being an abusive parent at this stage
crazy.
in our society.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which is something that they take to school and later in their life. They don't have any boundaries like we used to. I say this, just a part of my community. Back in the day, we had the fear of God. And now people, this new generation is kind of like, oh, this is this, which I believe in as well, but there's no, what's the word? I feel like a lot of no accountability,
Consequences,
no
accountability. Look, I, as a young person, was scared of everyone's parents.
Yeah.
Not my parents. I was scared more of other people's parents and or any adult.
Yeah.
Any adult could tell me to do anything at any time when I was 10 years old. And it's because they were adult, they had dominion over you. If I was in some kid's house and their dad was home, I wouldn't walk in and open the refrigerator. No. There'd be no way in hell I would open the refrigerator if I thought their dad was in the house.
Yeah.
Or their pantry or anything. I wouldn't touch anything. Not to mention go into their parents' bedroom. Man, that was like sacred Indian burial ground. Like to go.
I barely went in my own parents' room.
Yeah, like you just couldn't hang out. There was no walking. And also, just furniture. I would never sit, by the way, there's many adult women I know who sit this way. They sit on a sofa, they put their feet up on the sofa, like their shoes on the sofa. Like, you would never go to someone's house and like lay on their sofa, put your shoes up
Or
on
the dashboard or the dash in front of the car, just like resting your foot up there.
Right, yeah.
My dad would take it off with a hacksaw.
Yeah, no, anything. You see that, like if somebody came here, people would do that just on your couch, and I never understood that either. Even when I do certain shows, like people, put their feet on a stage and they pocketbook, and you're like, what are you doing? But again, no, they don't have. They just feel like they can do, or I don't even think they understand what respect is in the same manner.
Something happened with sofa material or something. Maybe it was like stain guard or Scotch guard that opened the door to this behavior, because I have many adult friends. Sarah Silverman's this way. If Sarah Silverman came back into that sofa and she sat down, it would be both feet on top of the sofa with her shoes on. Who just walked in from the parking lot, and that's how she sits. Yeah. I love Sarah, but that's how Sarah sits. There's a lot of guys, I don't know, the balls are too big or they're not stretching enough. I would be uncomfortable for me to sit on a sofa with my feet on the sofa, but there's a lot of women that'll like sit sideways, the side of their... Something with Scotch guard.
Yeah.
Something with stain guard. I'm telling you.
And
because,
no fear of the
no
parent.
fear, because
No fear.
when I was a kid, if your shoe got anywhere near anybody's... I had a guy who used to work for me named Ball Bryan. He brought his dog in from work once, right? Brought his dog in for work. That's a whole nother thing, which is you wouldn't bring your dog into work, but they brought... He just walks up, goes to the sofa, This in the next room. Takes the pillow off the ground, off the sofa, walks it over, sets it down on the floor, the carpet, and then tells his dog, yeah, there you go.
No.
I'm not kidding.
Turn
I'm
your
not
couch
kidding.
pillow into a dog bed?
Yeah, Brian's not even a bad guy. He's just, that's the new world order. Like, and now, could you imagine doing that as a young person, like walking into someone's house, just taking the sofa, pillow, put it on the ground?
Is this like the same concept of the barbecue thing? Like this is why I go. You don't have to kill somebody, but you can shoot them in the foot, or just give them something to just wake them up and let them know you can't do that.
Well, the little snap of the leash or the rubber band or the punch in the nose, the little stinger is super effective, and we've outlawed it.
Yeah.
And I've said it a million times. I had a nanny for my kids, Guatemalan, old school. My daughter was 2, 3, spit in her face.
Ooh.
And the nanny smacked her right in the face.
Ooh.
And then she told me, the nanny did, and I said, good. And then about 10 years later, she's like, guess who's never been spat on ever again? And I was like, yeah, her, because she smacked her in the face. So she now can equate spitting on Guatemalan women with being smacked in the face. Fine. She's not disfigured.
Yeah.
She had a red mark for half an hour, and now she never spits on anyone anymore. Good. Lesson learned. Moving forward, not a bad way to do it.
No.
Easy, effortless, basically, doesn't cost anything. We don't have to sit down with a counselor. She just will never spit in anyone's face ever again. Good. Problem solved.
As a kid, I always thought about getting struck once, and then that was it, as like, that's not even getting hit.
Right.
Premeditated beating, like, go up to your room, I'm coming up, you're getting it. That was different than just like, you did something, you got smacked in them. That was a crime of passion.
Right.
Just one smack. I didn't even feel like I was abused in that moment. I was just like,
Chaunte, did you get
disciplined?
Did you get shot? Did you get disciplined? Well, you
Almost,
know.
no. The funny thing is, my mother used to do it was go use the restroom and then go lay on the bed and pull down your pants. And I remember being in I want to say middle school, and this teacher wasn't even my teacher, but I was in the hallway, and she told me to go to class, and I think I was doing something before to go to class. But anyway, she told me to go to class. I said some disrespectful stuff. Next thing I know, I'm walking home. I get into my house. She's sitting in the living room with my mother.
Wow.
She beat you home.
She beat me home. My mother said, go use the bathroom, go lay on the bed, and wait for me. And the worst part, at the same time, this is the first time I realized that the spanking doesn't really hurt as much as I thought it did. It's just more of the anticipation and what's going to happen. But that was like a reminder of like, who do you think you are? These are adults. You got to show respect. It doesn't matter, because my mother was like, I'm going to take care of you. If somebody does something wrong to you, you come to me first. Don't try to handle it yourself. So she was that mother. Don't lie and don't do it on your own. But yeah, I got my behind whipped while she was in the living room.
I think I may be one of the few old dudes who has never been struck by either one of my parents ever, except for one occasion where I actually asked for it as an option. Nobody in my family has ever raised a hand, a belt, a switch, anything to me. Never physically put their hands, not even for a hug. There was no, it really was, it sounds like I'm making a joke, but their detachment was so great that hitting me would have been like someone saying, Adam, do you ever hit your neighbor's kids? And I'd go, no, I don't even know them. Like, why would I do that? That's sort of...
Their emotional range was very small in either direction.
They were so distant from their kids that even the discipline part would have been effort and would have been engagement somehow. And it would have been a parental-child relationship. And it would have been ultimately... Kids do digest it as my dad really cares, and I ran into the street, and I didn't look both ways, and he cares, and that's why he spanked me, because he cares. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have any that ever, and I wasn't even a good kid. I just one time, I just thought about something funny. But one time, I got a choice between being grounded in my room for 2 hours or taking the spanking.
Oh, yeah.
And I took the spanking because my room was a service porch with no TV or air or anything. It was just a little box. I was like, I didn't read. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do in there. I'll take the spanking from the guys not used to spanking, you know. So I thought
2 hours too. It's not 2 weeks.
2 hours is a long time. And what's interesting is that I'm learning that with my niece. So I have my wife, and when we watch our niece, she's older now, but my wife would discipline her in a different way, and I'm so sensitive. So when she cries and stuff like that, like I try to talk to her, and I go, listen, you can stand in the corner, and my wife is like, no, you're standing in the corner, you're being disrespectful. And when I tell you, my niece absolutely adores my wife. And with me, it's not that she doesn't adore me, but she just gets away with so many things. So she almost rather be with her. And my wife said that kids like discipline.
Yeah, I think it transcends they need it.
Yeah.
And they're almost like dogs that kind of go nuts when you let them just run everywhere. You know what I mean? They like some structure, or they need some structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought about a bizarre Carolla legacy, which is I've been hit by other people's parents more than my own parents, which is a very dubious. I have a couple of records that may never be broken. I've written more books than I've read, and I've been hit by more parents that were not my own than my own parents. There's not many individuals who can say that.
Yeah.
That's I'm an elite fraternity. My daughter carries on the legacy because the nanny smacked her, and I've never smacked her, neither has her mom. So she is a Carolla who's been smacked by others more than her actual parent. Now, I got two parents that smacked me, and she only got a nanny that whacked her, but still
one's still more than zero.
You need it. I bet she might have a certain thing with the parents, but going out into the world, you just can't do certain things like that. I look at people argue, road rage. There's a lot of things that I had to shift in my life because I'm like, it's getting so scary. Like, people will do some crazy things to you out of rage.
I don't even know. I agree. I don't even know where people get the energy for the rage, to care about strangers. I was in Wyoming last week, and I was driving in a rental car. I was the passenger. Mike August, who likes to drive fast. We're going from, Laramie to Casper.
Yeah.
And it's just like an endless highway going through the prairie. It's just endless. It's an endless straightaway. And Mike drives fast, which I like, because it basically, the MapQuest says it's going to take 2.5 hours to get there, and he does it in 2 hours and 8 minutes, basically. That's just 20 more minutes we got to hang out in Casper. So we're just going down an endless highway, and there's a truck, a full-size American truck, like in front of us. The speed limit's 70, and this guy's doing like 73, but Mike's doing 90. So Mike just goes around him. He doesn't honk and he doesn't move. He just goes safely, goes around him and speed. As we're going around him, the guy's just flying the bird the entire time. And I'm like, this isn't a judgment or an indictment of you or your skills or your driving. We're just going faster down a straightaway, and you don't know. We could have a child in the back who has an ailment. We could have a cooler with a liver in it. We're rushing to the Casper Medical Center. Or who knows what we're up to? The point is we just want to go 90, and you want to go 72, which is fine.
And there's 2 lanes.
And there's 2. We'll just go around. No, it was one each way, but it was dotted.
Yeah.
And it's endless. So they're like, if there's a truck in front of you just go around. Yeah. And that's what we did. That's all we did. But the bird was out from literally, I wasn't even flown the bird. The bird was perched. It was a pre-perched bird. Like, it was just there as we went around. And I'm like, unnecessary. Unnecessary. No reason we need to do that. And by the way, where does he get the energy? It's just 2 dudes in a rental car. They're just going to Casper. That's all. We didn't do anything to you.
It's something I learned. Well, it's a trigger.
Yes,
It's always a
everyone's
trigger.
getting shamed,
Yeah.
but what's the shame? I'm just wanting to go faster than you want to go. I don't know why
It's a
shaming.
trigger. Normally, what happens is that person is flipping you off because you brought up something in their past with somebody, even like it could have been as simple as a track race. And they got booed or something, or they lost to somebody.
Is everyone living
And
that
you-
close to their past?
I think that a lot of rage is never about the other person.
Right.
It's never. You can't go from 0 to 100. Whatever that person was dealing with in life, it's almost like you just got to accept that they don't even know that they're carrying this stuff around.
I guess, and then I don't know what effect they think it has on us.
Oh.
Mike didn't even notice. The guy who was driving the car didn't even see it. I had to inform him that we were just flipped off. And then we laughed about it as we got distance between, his
I
front
was like,
bumper
you
and our
laughed
rear
in
bumper.
his face.
I don't care, because how could I care? We don't know you, and we weren't doing anything. But I'm curious, like, there's a lot of engagement and effort. Was I talking on this show about flashing my high beams at someone and them flashing their hazards at me?
I think so.
Is that this show? Okay.
That's a get you.
It's a lot of engagement.
It is. Back in the day, I remember somebody cutting me off, and I made it a point to go around them, and then it became this we were racing, and I get behind them, and I pretended to follow them, and I'm like getting off the freeway, going out of my way to just try to give some type of fear to this person in front of me. And when I realized that they were allowing me to follow, I left, because I was like, oh, this person gonna stop.
Yeah,
and
taking me to a dark area with no
it's
cameras.
but that's how it was. Like, you want the person to feel as angry or frustrated as you just made them feel.
I've seen countless videos. I have no idea what my algorithm is, about people trying to pass people on a one lane, each direction, and that person drifts out. And then the next thing you know, the guy's going up an embankment and rolling at 80 miles an hour. It's like, you just killed somebody because they tried to go around you and you weren't having it. You were going to drift out and drift them in. Soon as you hang a couple of wheels on the dirt, it's off or on. Like, now the car's uncontrollable at that point, and next thing you know, the car is rolling because someone was just trying to go around another person. And by the way, the person that drifts out, you got manslaughter now. And meanwhile, you were just going to play softball somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Like, now it's manslaughter. Is that really something you signed up for?
I love the people that drive slow because they're on their phone. And then when they see you creeping up, they punch.
Speed up.
They speed up. It's like, if you're going to be on your phone, you shouldn't be doing that anyway, but those are the people that irritate me.
You know what we need? I got behind a woman in a Tesla, and I realized today when I was coming here, Teslas are self-driving or almost self-driving. There's so many beepers and buzzers and they put the brake on for you that people go, like, my mom's 74 VW Squareback. You wouldn't have dared try to read a book while you drove that car. It was a death trap just driving it at 10 and 2 sober. You know what I mean? Like, forget about, I'm going to read Moby Dick on my lap while I drive this pile of shit around. It was drum brakes, retread tires. Like, literally, my mom bought used tires. She got retreads. But you get lulled into a sense of security because the car sort of lets you know and semi-drives itself. But I was behind this woman and she wasn't moving, and I could tell she was like distracted. And I just went around her. And when I looked at her, she was just in a Tesla, just looking at her lap, like on the phone. People are going to do this. Shouldn't we get a thing where we can just project onto the windshield the text, like the teleprompter? The president's up there. He's got those 2 sheets of glass up there. Let's just say what it is now. It would just project it on. You can read your text while looking straight ahead at traffic and brake lights. Yeah. You think that's coming? It should. They wouldn't let you do it. But the alternative
they don't even
is,
let you, like, if you plug your phone in, you can get the AirPlay, the CarPlay. and you can get your music and you can whatever, but you can't put video on there, which it's already set to do. But they won't show you video. But meanwhile, I'm watching my baseball game on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just put it on my screen.
Yeah, but I think it's coming. I think if not, there's a kid, even though I think it's already created, but there's a kid who just made glasses that could now identify. It's like the Black Mirror thing, but I could put these glasses on and get some of your information, just a little background. I don't know how that is, but he's like walking up to strangers. And it says what school they went to.
Because doing a facial recognition thing. I mean, if you think about it, we've traveled through airports. I mean, I'll just say, I've traveled through airports for 30 years. I didn't travel when I was poor, but then when I wasn't, I've been traveling about 30 years. In the last 2 years, I'm taking a picture at every single airport.
Yeah.
So now there's a picture of you and your retinas and your face just in every computer, right? So now all we need is that data, which I'm sure is very hackable.
Yeah.
And then I get my smart glasses on, and then I see your face, and then I know everything that's in the computer on you.
Yeah.
And you go, how was Casper, Mr. Gruel?
What? I didn't say I was going to Casper. Who told you that?
But that's what's happening, and I think we're being like we're only getting small pieces of it. So like it's like when the iPhone came out, there was very limited stuff that we could do, and now we're at this like you could shoot a movie on it. But I think they already knew what they wanted to do. It's just I can't give you everything right now because what else is after that? How do I upgrade you to a new phone?
Yeah. Everything's got to be done incrementally.
Yeah.
And it always kind of has to be, if you dump it all like at once, society goes, no, we don't want this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you do it kind of slowly, sort of boil the frog, it could be technology, it could be really shitty government policy where they go, they go like, well, we need the homeland security, we just want to keep terrorists out of it. Next thing you know, they're looking into your shit. It always, it never goes, we'd like to start a group so we could spy on citizens. Because we go, no.
We just got to make sure you don't have bombs in your shit.
Yeah.
Right. So they go, well, we want to think so we can keep an eye on Al Qaeda. And then you go, all right. And then it turns into federal marshals showing up at your house.
Yeah.
So everything starts off with a nice title. It's always, the Dreamer Act or the Homeland Security or even the Inflation Reduction Act. Like we give it a good name.
Yeah.
Like Smart Water.
Yep.
We go, hey, I'm pretty
We
bright.
got cancer later.
Yeah, like we give it a good name, and then whatever comes out afterward, it starts getting bad. But we do it in little bites. And when we do it in little bites, we can digest it. You know what I mean? Like you could, I always tell everyone, you could eat a Chevy pickup truck if someone just ground it into powder. If you took a Chevy pickup truck and you ground it to powder and you just put 1 teaspoon in your coffee every morning, in 28 years, you ate a Chevy pickup truck. It would work.
Yeah.
And you'd probably be fine, too.
This is why they're going to let the Menendez brothers out one
That's
at a
right.
time.
One at a time. We're giving you too much.
Two of them, it's going to be a whole thing, but one at a time.
Yeah.
I think the scary thing is I don't like anything that's new. Anything that's new, I want to see what happens. So the fact that she trusts the vehicle to drive itself right now.
The woman in front of me.
Yeah, because
she doesn't think it's driving. There's two things. She thinks it's going to tell her if there's a problem.
Right.
And apply the brake for her if there's a problem. And they don't really talk about this, but she knows she has an airbag in crumple zones. She's not going to smash her face against the steering wheel.
But all of that could malfunction.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. Like we're not at the test. They were malfunctioning when everybody was getting them. They were veering off themselves, crashing, and doing all those things. I just don't think we're ready.
I don't even like how they function. Like you ever have your car brake for you? You're like,
I don't like that.
They slam on the brakes. They never ease into it.
No, that's a coffee spiller.
Yeah.
Right there. I know. So every once in a every once in a blue moon, someone would like leave a box on the driveway that's too low that I couldn't see, and I'm backing up, holding a coffee, backing out of my garage, and pow!
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
crashes the brake
Yeah.
on. Yeah, it's not subtle. It's not nuanced.
They working on it.
They're working
the
on
brake
it,
thing.
and then the car sees its own reflection, like in the side of a big truck. You know, that's how some of those self-driving accidents happen.
It's-
It would be like a big stainless steel or polished aluminum semi-truck, and the car is driving at it, and it's looking at a mirror of itself, essentially. And that's how I think somebody died in one of those accidents. There was also the autonomous driving car. I'm looking at you, Dawson, because we had this film somewhere. This guy, they have those Waymo cars or whatever they're
Yeah.
called, where they're like self-driving. And there's
I heard
a
about
guy who, I don't know, looked a little sad to me, sitting with his dog on his
Yeah,
lap.
I've seen this.
And it just goes through San Francisco or downtown or wherever and just stops, and everyone's just tagging the car, which is comical. But I hate this guy because I don't know why. I don't like guys who travel with their dogs on their lap. So it's funny to me. He also doesn't know what to do. Like, he's going to get out of the car. Like back in the day, you just step out of the car and fire one shot over your head and everyone would scatter. Now he has to just sit there.
But also, it's not even his car. I'd be like, great job, guys.
Right.
Are you trying to bother me?
I would be yelling at the car to run these assholes
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Like, you can't feel that Sharpie on your hood, bro?
Yeah.
Go! Run them!
Not exactly Kit, right?
Yeah, not exactly Kit from Knight Rider. That's for damn sure. But yeah, there should be a safe word
Yeah.
where you could yell at the car to go if you're being surrounded by gangbangers in Oakland. Like, you should be able to do something. But the car, I guess, senses people standing in front of it.
Or put a bulletproof. I want a car that's bulletproof, or all kind of proof.
The
But
Tesla, is the Cybertruck is that bulletproof?
I don't know.
That was the theory for a while. He was like, it's going to be bulletproof. And then even in one of his own things, he like threw a rock at it and it went through the window.
Well, they had, so there's two things. They had the rollout of the Cybertruck like 4 years ago or something, and they brought it to like the Detroit Auto Show or the Los Angeles Auto Show, and they're like, look how tough it is, and he hit the window with a hammer or rock or something, and it shattered.
Yeah.
Right. But that was like 4 years ago. Then there's another one where I saw like a fireman or someone going at it with an axe, and they
Okay.
couldn't get it. It shatters, but doesn't break. You know what I mean? It spiders or whatever, spider webs out or whatever it is. But you might be able to get the truck.
This is what I'm saying, though. He just had to stop, and you were correct. If he was in the center of gangbangers, it would have been over for him. So, again, I'm going to wait a little bit.
On your self-driving
Yeah,
car?
I love hybrids.
What are you driving now?
Well, I just got into an accident, so I'm driving my wife's car. But,
Texting? Texting
no,
while driving?
the guy hit me trying to get home, making a left turn.
Was he doing anything stupid?
We were going to a barbecue. We were driving straight, and he wanted to catch the light. And the stupid thing was he lived 2 blocks away.
Oh,
so
really?
he totaled my car.
Wow.
But I had a Honda CRV, which I love Hondas now. I might get a Lexus, but I still want hybrid. Yeah.
You're okay? Back hours?
Yeah.
And your car was totaled.
My car was totaled. I had me, my wife, and my niece in the car.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Well,
his
so we-
car was what?
His car was messed up too. It had to get towed.
You were driving?
Yeah, I was driving.
See, that's why your niece likes her more.
Yeah. You almost killed her from the road.
Getting hit out.
You
We've been
texting
going
and
there.
driving almost got her killed, man.
No, we went to physical therapy and stuff, so we're good.
Wow, that's
But yeah,
shocking.
no, it was.
So he
crazy
just
thing.
ran a red?
It was the light was it was green when we were passing, but it was turning, and he just, I guess, wanted to speed up. Thought he
He
could
made that
make
left
it.
on red.
And he didn't have anything in his system or anything?
No, it was him and his girlfriend. He didn't say anything the entire time. You could tell he was pissed. It was a brand new car. I think it was Mercedes, and Mercedes truck just still had the paper plates on it, and bam, and he had amazing like insurance and stuff, so that's good for him.
Oh man,
but
yeah,
it was horrible. And then we got almost scammed because now they have people that can, I guess they have a radar or something that could tell accidents. So in like 2 minutes, this Latina dude showed up and was like, "Hey, like, we could do this for you. We could say,"
right,
we're
right,
like,
right.
"Bro, this is crazy."
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't mean like radar, but you mean like a police scanner or something like that.
Yeah.
So guys sit around now. God, have we fallen from grace?
Right.
They have an app or they have whatever,
Yeah.
and they know there's an accident, and they run over to you and they go, "You want to sue this guy's insurance? We will be eyewitnesses for you." Really?
Well, he said eyewitness towing, and then he tried to set us up with the lawyer. But again, first of all, I try to be as honest as I can now. But we didn't really feel pain or anything like that until after. So we was like, we'll get our own lawyer, do those things. But the only thing I could say he was good for was towing us because our insurance was closed. So we got to change insurance because our place sucks. But they were closed on Sunday. So we needed him to
Got
be towed.
Chick-fil-A insurance?
Yo,
What fucking kind of insurance place is closed on a Sunday?
John
it was
316
it was
insurance.
we thought it was good, but yeah, it was so horrible, and his insurance and tow truck showed up immediately. But they sit there and come to find out, thank God we were honest because they're being investigated. Because apparently, like, they'll come get your car.
The guys who came up showed up are being the diciest people on the planet are tow truck drivers and impound yards.
Yeah.
And most anything to do with automobiles are the worst, diciest criminal element there is. If there's any legitimate job where people are like on the grift, it's all things cars and tow trucks and body shops and everything.
Yeah, man. And
Every single body shop will go, look, I can probably get it done for $7,000 cash, but I can tell the insurance company it's going to be $26,000.
Yeah.
They're all on the take.
Yeah.
All things car, everything car. I don't know. It just attracts the world's worst element.
Yeah.
Even as something as simple as the valet. Like, I remember I was pulling into a valet in Hollywood to go to a show at the Palace in Hollywood. They have those parking lots right there, I'm driving a Z car, a 270 Z car, 370, sorry. It's a real low-slung car, and I'm wearing a suit for some event, and I come in and the guy goes, $20 cash. And I go, yeah, okay, let me just pull into the spot and I'll get you. And he goes, cash now. And I go, I'm sitting on my wallet and my suit's over it. I'll just park right there and then I'll give you the $20. And he goes, no, 20. Now, I'm not letting you pull in. I'm like, what do you think I'm going to do? Get out of the car and start laughing and run to Mexico and leave you in my car? Like, what would my plan be to save $20? My car's here. Well, how could this go any other way other than me giving you $20? I can't abandon my car. You're standing here. It's like, 20. Now, I look at the guy, I just go, fuck you. And I literally pulled out and drove across the street. And I pulled into the other lot and I go, $20. And I'm like, yeah, just let me park my car. And I go, okay. And then I just got out of my car and I handed him $20 and I yelled at the guy across. Now he's got the 20.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
This is how we had to do it this way. You couldn't trust a fucking middle-aged white guy in a suit driving a $50,000 car. Not enough goodwill here for me to just pull into the spot 20 feet from where you're standing. No, you know the game.
Yeah.
He had the bird pre-ready.
Right.
Pre-perched bird.
Look, but the funny thing is, some of them I feel don't even like own that spot. Like they'll, the hours will be over and they just get a cone and a sign.
Oh yeah.
And if you got a good hookup with a towing place, you can make it feel like that. But I love going to different spots. I need to see options. So when I go to the Comedy Store or something like that, I'll pull into one spot. It might say 2025. You go across the street or around the corner and you go, oh man, they they're $5 cheaper, they'll just go, okay, we'll do it for 15. And I started learning that going to different restaurants and stuff. If they're the same price, or you like it better or feel safer, they'll be like, all right, we just need the money.
We took a picture, Dawson. I can't remember if you were there or if it's in the computer, but it's in the computer somewhere. God knows what it's labeled. But remember we're in San Francisco, Fisherman's Wharf, and there's a parking lot at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, and there's a big picture of a dude, and it says, he does not work at this parking lot. Do not give this dude money. He walks around to people that are like tourists or in rental cars and in a reflective vest, getting $20 from people from Iowa who wanted to come to Fisherman's Wharf, except for it's free parking here in San Francisco, or it's like metered parking, whatever. But this guy is shaking everyone down in this parking lot. It's also kind of, there's a rich and poor version of this. Like it used to be, if you saw a game at the Coliseum, like you saw USC play at the Coliseum, every house by the Coliseum was charging $25, $30 to park on the lawn. If you go to Pebble Beach, to 17-mile drive on Pebble Beach for the Concours d'Elegance, the most prestigious car show in the world, there are rich-ass $20 million homes with the 17-year-old son going, $100. $100. You want to park on my dad's lawn? And I can get 12 cars on my fucking driveway, which is up the street from the golf course where the 18th green. They will do it.
Convenience.
They will do it. It's $100.
Convenience. If you go into a show like that in in that area, people that we're lazy. We rather convenience than anything, even if we're gonna curse them out.
Yeah.
I think the scariest thing right now is the QR codes. You ever seen those in the parking lots and stuff?
No.
Yeah,
Tell
they just have them now. So it's scary to scan something that you don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
That's where the guy with the glasses comes in, because now it's... All right, the New World Orders, everything's just going to be out there all the time for everything, and there's really nothing we're going to be able to do about it, right? And
it's because of those increment laws, the little slow by slow they brought in. We did it to ourselves.
That's how you boil that frog. All right, let me give you... Oh, that's the guy. Do not pay this individual. He's a well-dressed man of color.
In a blazer.
Yes. What's it say? Oh, pay machine at all times. Well, this guy... And there's a phone number. I don't know. Is this guy's mom proud?
Listen.
Because I could make an argument. You know what I mean? Like, well, he's photographed. He's known about town. He's a snappy dresser.
He's well-dressed.
He's innovative.
Well,
no one thought of this before him. It's kind of a victimless crime.
That's her phone number. If you call he did it. My boy did it again.
It's not like he's shivving people, in the subway. He's just taking a little grift. I mean, he's basically doing what the city does anyway with parking meters and parking spots and taxes and levies and registration fees. Like, come on, city. This is essentially what you do.
I mean, he's basically Eric Adams. He's a well-dressed black guy taking your money.
That's right. He's running the city.
Well,
you got the key back from P. Diddy. Now he's charging you for parking.
Well, you can only trust people that look like they're not from this country. That's where it trips up. If they're doing valet or something like that, and he was just a black guy, he looks Nigerian or something like that. So you trust a little more.
He was a Nigerian prince the whole time.
Yeah.
That's what he
come
did
to
with the $9
America.
I emailed him.
All right, let me give you a plug, Chaunte Wayans. Advanced Chemistry is the name of the movie. Saw the trailer, very funny. It is out on digital release. And Mike Drop Mania, Chandler, Arizona. It's coming up October 12th through the 3rd.
10th to the 12th. No.
10th through the 12th.
Yes.
As well. Chef Gruel, thank you for being a part of the show today. I'm going to be in Nashville at Zany's. That'll be live taping ACS. That'll be tonight. And then Pottsville, PA. Soul Joel's doing stand-up tomorrow and Saturday. Adam Ray's going to join me over at Zany's, as well as Clay. Wait a minute. Clay who? I screwed up his last name.
Clay Travis.
Clay Travis. I just wanted
You wanted
Joe
me
to say it.
Oh, you son.
So come on out, say hi tonight. Pottsville after that. Till next time, Adam. For Chaunte and Joe and Chef Gruel saying, mahalo.